This is the Paranormal Report. Welcome to the Paranormal Report. We're back after a week off. We had to take care of empty nester stuff. We had to see Cassandra back off to school. And this is really the beginning of our real empty nester era, because before, one or the other kid would always be back for summer vacation. But that's the end of that.
That was Cassandra's last summer break. Going forward, she has no more summers off. She barely has winter breaks and anything like that.
Yeah.
So she will not be living with us full time probably anymore, unless some weird thing happens and she decides to do a residency where they pay you nothing and she can't support herself for a year.
And Natalie is off, very successul with her career, her first job, a promotion in about a year, which is awesome.
First promotion in a year, yeah.
So congratulations, Natalie.
Woo.
So I mean, like they say, it's the natural order of things, and this is the new normal. It's you and me, kid. You and me.
It is. Well, we started out with you and me, kid. So we're just going right back to it.
Right,
full circle.
back to the future. Unfortunately, we have something to talk about briefly here that is not pleasant. We had a very special viewer of this program, and we won't mention any names, but she was a very close family friend. We had known her for decades. She was actually the mother of one of our dear friends who passed very, very young, one of our contemporaries. And she became like a second mom, a second grandma, to the kids. She was just a great lady and loved this show. She really we got a kick out of it. We always knew she was watching. And unfortunately, after a short illness, she passed a few days ago. And we just want to, put your thoughts and prayers out to her and her family. Just such a sad situation, such a great person.
Phenomenal woman. She became my close friend, like Jim said, like my mom. I would talk to her all the time. We would try to go pick her up and go out and do things. And and it was very shocking. I don't think this was on our bingo card for this year.
No.
It very fast. I mean, you hear people say it, at least she didn't suffer long. True, but still, her we're going to miss her. We're going to really miss her. So
we're going to miss her tremendously. So this show is dedicated to her, and you know who you are, and hopefully you're looking down, and we'll hopefully see you in a few decades here. But yeah.
And if you want to give us any signs, we're open. So
exactly.
Signs that you're okay.
Yes.
Nothing
yes,
scary,
absolutely.
please.
Absolutely.
She might do that to joke around. Who knows?
No, I don't know. She had a great sense of humor, humor. A great lady. So, on to the paranormal news. And this first item, maybe we have an indication of where the president's thoughts are in terms of aliens. And this comes by way of the Daily Star and Jack Osborne, the son of Ozzy Osbourne, who's very much into the paranormal and supernatural world. He's actually been a guest on the Paranormal Podcast, believe it or not. And he says that he knows someone inside President Trump's inner circle. And basically, the president says aliens are living in our oceans. He said that, Osborne said that he has a friend and who speaks with the president once a week, like clockwork. Every Saturday they have a phone call. And this gentleman or lady, I don't know if it's a gentleman or a lady, I think it's a gentleman, because he said, I asked him, he's like, what's the deal with all this UFO stuff? He asked the president. And apparently Trump said, we have no idea what they are, but they're in the ocean, which I think is kind of interesting. People are saying they're in the oceans. It could be. It's, and Jack Osborne goes on to say, by the way, owner of Spark.tv, the paranormal channel, that he thinks it makes sense because so much of the ocean is unexplored and so forth. And Osborne feels that there's some hostile and some friendly ETs who have interacted with Earth. And he has done shows on the UFO phenomena and so forth. And Yeah. So there you have it from Jack Osborne. President Trump believes that there's something in the oceans. We don't know what they are. And to be honest with you, it makes sense when you see objects coming from out of these transmedium objects that appear to go very quickly. Congressman Tim Burchett has talked about very fast objects under the water, these transmedium craft that are USOs. They're submerged, and then they come out and they become UFOs. It kind of makes sense. Even if they're coming out there, they could have bases under the ocean and we'd be none the wiser. So, it seems kind of funny. The president thinks there's aliens under the water. But, I don't dismiss that. I think there could be something going on in the oceans. What say you, Dar?
Well, it's like what we've discussed before. The president's not the supreme power in this situation. I don't really care what anyone says. I believe there's a contingent way above him that's more powerful when it comes to this kind of stuff. I think he's on a need-to-know basis, and they just tell him what they want him to know. And, I'm at the point now, anything is possible. I'm not going to deny it and I'm not going to confirm it, right? Like, of course that can be. We don't know everything. That's the other thing. We're so presumptuous that we're so smart. We know everything. We don't know half of the stuff that's going on in the world, and our brain can't even comprehend it. And that speaks to what you have coming up very soon on the Paranormal Podcast. You have a really great interview, and why don't you just quickly let in on that one that's coming?
Well, actually, are you talking about the one we just released yesterday?
Oh, the one that just came. Yeah, Jacques Vallée.
Jacques Vallée, yeah. The great Jacques Vallée, who, is probably the foremost UFO researcher in the world. And we released that and had a great conversation with him. And I thought he felt good about it afterwards. He talked about, he brought it up, doing another one relatively soon, which I thought was a high compliment, but it was great. And we really got deep on the UFO subject because he does not look at it from a surface level. No. He looks at it at a very deep level. And just an honor to get to interview him. And we have some other good shows coming up. A couple of weeks, we'll have Jeff Belanger on the world's most haunted places. Lots of good stuff on the Paranormal Podcast.
Well, I have to just say, Jacques Vallée had the best quote. He said, the answers to all of this are always wrong. He's like, the most important thing is to make sure we're asking the right questions on this topic.
No.
So I was like, thank you.
Very, very wise on this. Very, very wise. Oh, one thing we didn't mention at the head end, and I did want to mention,
yes,
is I will have a series of library talks again this fall, starting at the end of September. So if you want all the straight skitty on that, and I think there'll be, six talks, if I'm remembering correctly?
I think 6 talks, yeah.
You can go to jimharold.com/events, jimharold.com/events to get all the information. And I think for most of the programs, registration's required, so you're going to want to jump on that. But they're free programs. And we basically go over some great campfire stories. And these will be all new for this fall season. So if you came to see it last year, thank you. But it'll be all new programs, so you have all new stories. So, So check that out, jimharold.com/events.
Northeast Ohio area. So, know, we haven't... venture out yet. Eventually we
Maybe.
will. We'll see.
So you have a story about a deepening mystery. Very sad stuff.
Well, yeah, I tried to find information about the missing scientists. Most of the time it's non-existent. I think the only one that's still getting press is the Melissa Casillas report, her missing report. Well, she's not missing. They found her dead. And I think that's because the family is really pushing it. And Lauren Conlon from LA Mag is she is the reporter that is on it. So they have another story out, and the autopsy has been released. And it reveals a gunshot wound. Okay. So the sad part, though, is it reveals a gunshot wound, but they can't determine how or why or anything. So it's undetermined how she passed away. They initially stated there was no projectile located in her skull upon initial CT, and her remains were severely decomposed. some bones were missing, and this whole thing is so sad. I'm sorry. So apparently the bullet reportedly entered the right side of the base of her skull, traveled from right to left and upward, and exited through the left side of her skull. The autopsy report states, quote, "The skeletal remains were leaned back against stone in a depression in rocks, with the left tibia, fibula, shoe, and sock approximately 20 feet away. There was a firearm near the body." FDMI Martinez noted that the left hand and left foot were absent, and also noticed the remains appeared to show signs of predation. Anyway, the remains were placed in a body bag and transported to OMI for examination. So because there was so little soft tissue, they couldn't determine the range of fire. So they don't know if it was like at close range or fired farther away. They don't know if it was suicide, if it was murder. They have no idea. So Lauren Conlon's article is really good because it just goes on to say, and this is, remember, I think a couple weeks ago, I talked about they found the handgun and they determined it did not belong to her.
Right.
Well, now there's news. It belonged to her husband, Mark Casillas. So Laura brings up some real interesting information also about the bullet and how it was happening. She spoke with Morgan Wright. He's like an intelligence expert, and he's quoted as saying, "There's only a few possible scenarios based on the type of bullet used. A full metal jacket, FMJ round, is composed of a core and a jacket. The jacket is typically copper for the majority of civilian use. It's not designed to expand on impact. Usually used for target practice and handgun or pistol use. It's also used for rifles, like a 5.56 or a 223, for example. Those rounds tend to penetrate completely and exit a human body unless they strike bone. When someone shoots themselves in the head, in the temple area, the bone is very fragile and permits a through and through without much interference. A jacketed hollow point, JHP, is a round designed to expand on impact to prevent over penetration." So he goes on and on. They're saying in her case, if the autopsy shows an entry and exit wound in the skull, then it's not reasonable to think a round would be found in the skull. If the ammunition was FMJ, there's very low probability based on the trajectory stated in the autopsy report that a round would expect to be found. So basically, they're kind of going on saying they're concluding it's just speculation. Nobody knows. They're saying there's no way she killed herself. The family is adamant that she did not kill herself, that she was not suicidal at all. They said how deeply she loved her daughter. She would never leave her behind. She had we talked about how she had plans to pay off her debt, and she was making plans to move. And it was just, there's no way. The family's just really upset. They're thinking that body was moved. They're convinced because they said that area was checked. There was no body. And then suddenly they find the bones, the timeline, everything. They're saying they think the body was moved and transported to the location where it was found. Was it staged? They're saying it looked like it was an effort. And then Conlon goes on to talk about the gun and her husband, and there's like all this discrepancy about if she dropped him off at work that morning. So I definitely read this article. It gives a lot more information. It kind of makes you think a little bit. And then there's another companion article by the Daily Mail that had some interesting information that was a little different than Laura Conlon's information too. Again, stating there's no way they think she killed herself. Her daughter's very upset. The ruling of undetermined does not mean that anyone has been found responsible for my mother's death, nor should it be used as an opportunity to create a narrative that the evidence does not establish. They just want answers, at this point. They found the backpack. It just lots of red flags, lots of weird information
weird
here.
Stuff.
Something's not right. I'm not saying it, I'm not saying it's alien. It's not aliens, but there is a reason I don't know. They're saying the kickback would have been ridiculous from the gun. Also, what I thought this was very interesting, former FBI agent Ben Hansen told Brian Enton Investigates podcast. Just what they have shared is highly, highly suspicious. I don't know if I give a percentage, but it's kind of more like an 80% foul play versus someone who's depressed, the way I see it, is what he said. He said, I think either there was an influence from the outside, and I'm not saying that it's energy directed or anything, but foreign adversary influence of some sort. And he says the other options, they were enticed because this is the behavior in all these cases. It looks like they thought they were coming back. Okay. And they go on to say, this article goes on to say that there's no signs that the FBI is looking into this death.
Yeah. Sometimes,
he ordered.
Go ahead.
I was going to say the White House ordered the FBI to investigate all these deaths and disappearances, but it looks like, according to Adams, it doesn't look like the FBI is doing jack.
Sometimes the act of not following up is because they don't want to discover certain things or have certain things.
Or want anyone else to discover those certain things. So,
well, you discovered something interesting here. Now, we think of the UFO phenomena and all these things really U.S. based. We don't think a lot about other things in the world. But specifically, the Soviet Union did a lot of investigation into UFOs. And, of course, Ross Coulthart has some interesting information via newsnationnow.com. And he was interviewed regarding his podcast, Secret Soviet UFO. And they told this story. This was in, I guess, Estonia, which was a part of the old USSR. And it was from the 1960s, where a suburban couple was doing routine work on their home when a worker digging a wall struck a hard metallic object. But it appeared that it was not from this earth. It was analyzed. It was non-earthly. And Coulthart went on to say, we also know from multiple witnesses who were on the ground at the time, there was a massive investigation where the Soviet military came in. The whole house garden was dug up. There was a tunnel dug to the object, whatever it was, and there were reports, multiple reports, of people, including a worker that tried to hit the object with a pickaxe. And when he did that, he was hit in the chest by some kind of propulsive force. Coulthart said, we don't know what the force was, but as a result of that incident and weird anomalous things that happened in and around the house that were witnessed and recorded again by multiple witnesses, the entire tunnel system was closed up, and as best we know, the object has never been recorded. So it was almost like the object was saying, don't tread on me. They called the object Object M, or it has been dubbed Object M. And it appeared to cause weird phenomena around the house with multiple events recorded by multiple witnesses. And and they specifically found files that have diagrams of Object M. And just to show how serious the Soviets were about UFOs, according to Coulthart, he said during the Cold War, they dedicated an investigation to over 10,000 UFO cases.
Ooh.
So, again, do you think that the Soviet Union, they were pretty hardcore, right? They didn't go in for any foolishness over there.
No.
They must have thought it was some kind of threat to national security. The Soviets, if you know the losses they had, millions of people in the Second World War, they were very, very suspicious of any possible threats. If they spent time to investigate 10,000 cases, it wasn't a joke. It's something that they took very, very seriously. I think that figure, I think alone speaks for itself. So again, Ross Coulthart, he brings these things to light. He brings them in a forum that, it's not CNN, it's not Fox News, it's not MS Now, I guess is what they're calling it, but still a major outlet. And I give him kudos for bringing these cases up and letting people know. So
I give kudos to News Nation for airing that and letting him do that.
Exactly.
Because, I don't know.
No, I'm with you.
I think there's a contingency and in this world that wants to hear these kinds of things and, is willing to use their brain power to make some deductions and kind of analyze information, and kudos for airing it.
Well, you have some Nessie news. Tell us the latest Nessie news.
Yeah, Nessie fans. Hey, Marcia, this is for you. New sighting by an Australian tourist at Urquhart Castle shatters total number of sightings made by visitors last year. So there have now been more sightings in 2026 of Nessie than the whole of last year, and we still had like 4.5 months to go. Oscar Gray was visiting the castle on July 21st when he saw something mysterious emerge from the water. He got it on camera. This is from the Inverness Courier. We'll have the link so you could see the picture. Good luck, because I didn't see anything. No, I saw something, but I couldn't tell what it was. I don't know. So, whatever. I don't know what it is. But anyway, confirming his reported encounter, a spokesperson for the Register said Oscar Gray, visiting from Australia, reported that he was standing at the shoreline at the Urquhart Castle when he saw the top of a dark green flat-topped head pop out of the water well out from the shoreline. The head was followed by two same-colored humps that emerged out of the water behind the head, which he thought would be the body. Then he saw ripple lines about 500 meters behind the humps, and it made quite decent white waves, which he expected it was from the tail swimming through the water.
Should I make a joke about her humps? Her lovely Nessie lumps.
There you go. Humps, lumps, whatever. All of it, whatever. After the tail swished water over its head, it then swam back down below the water, and he never saw it again for the rest of the day. But he supposedly got the photo. Good luck. No. And there was another sighting just like, 2 weeks before this? Or 2 days before it, I think. A 9-year-old girl named Crystal from Australia was there visiting, and apparently she saw it too. So this was the 9th in-person sighting and 11th on webcam footage so far this year. Something's under there. I mean, we could call it Nessie. It doesn't have to necessarily be a monster. It doesn't. I mean, it could be some kind of species that we just don't know about. I mean, I don't know.
Absolutely.
Why can't people think like there's something under there? I mean, there's obviously some people are seeing something popping up. What is it? It's not algae that's popping up, and it's not going to pop up.
No,
and go back down
I
and
totally
sink.
buy into the idea of water monsters because we don't know where things are coming in and out. We don't know. Yeah, I'm totally. I'm a true believer when it comes to water monsters. Now, obviously, not everyone is a water monster, but I believe there's stuff under there we don't understand.
But that's the thing. Can't we just be in the middle? Can't we just
get along?
Some things are that and other things are not that, I mean, like it's okay. Not everything is something.
Well, I guess it doesn't matter because judgment is coming. Judgment is coming.
Goodbye.
Some people believe judgment's coming very soon. We were recording this and we'll release it on August 26th. But guess what's happening August 27th, Thursday evening and into Friday? Well, the sun, the earth, and the moon will line up imperfectly. This is from dailymail.com. And apparently 96% of the moon will pass into Earth's umbra, the darkest part of its shadow, which means the moon will turn blood red. Dun, dun, dun. And you know what that means?
No.
Someone here says, one ex-user said, considering the convergence of world events and planetary changes, it sort of evokes Joel 2:31. And I had to look that up because I've not been looking at my Bible.
I don't
much
remember
lately.
the book of Joel. Oh gosh,
in the Old Testament. Yeah, I guess it's only 3 chapters or something. But I am familiar with this passage. The sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the great and terrible day of the Lord come. And it says here, Joel 2:31 symbolizes cosmic disturbances and divine judgment and is often interpreted as signaling a time of impending danger for the wicked and salvation for the faithful. So people are saying this could be a biblical prophecy. Now, the previous eclipse in this series occurred on August 26, 2008, while the next will take place on September 7th, 2044.
But how can that be? Who cares if it's all over? Shouldn't have all been over then August 8th back then?
I had the same thought. I remember when I was a kid, there was this thing where all the planets lined up. I forgot some kind of convergence or something, and they said that was going to be people have been saying for thousands of years. Had they been saying for thousands of years it's the end times. The truth is, it doesn't. Well, we'll have a new president in a couple of years, so I can I feel your pain.
There we go. That's better.
There we go.
Here
That's
we
a
go.
callback. That's a I feel your pain. It depends on
Get a
what
couple-
the word
get one from
meaning of
every-
the word is.
Well,
That's a
going along,
callback. Yes.
yeah,
Yes. Go
going
ahead. Go
along
ahead.
with Armageddon from the Blood Red Moon, the new Nostradamus says we're in trouble by the end of this year because there's going to be a 5-country war. Dum, dum, dum.
Well, that's
It doesn't
fully
take
within,
Nostradamus to
Yeah.
figure that one out, right? I
Yeah,
don't know.
that could be. Yeah. Unfortunately.
I'm being so obnoxious I'm sorry. My emotions are all over the place. Anyway, a psychic dubbed the Prophet of Doom, Craig Hamilton Parker, they kind of refer to him as the new Nostradamus. He says all these international tensions, it's going to boil over into a bloody battle with 5 different countries. Supposedly, this man saw Brexit, Donald Trump's election in 2016, Theresa May's resignation, Boris Johnson's rise to power. He warned about COVID. Accurately predicted U.S. strikes on Iranian nuclear sites. I don't know. But he revealed that he uses Nadi, which is an ancient Indian practice involving analysis of palm leaf manuscripts said to contain humanity's future. He said there's going to be this sharp escalation in these conflicts between August and September. And by October, 5 nations are going to be directly entangled into a large-scale war. Right? I mean, I don't know. I could see that happening. There's so much crap going on right now in the world. So anyway, but he did say there's a glimmer of hope. He claims there's a spiritual shift at work behind the scenes to guide humanity through the dark period ahead. Right? So in cahoots with that article, we got Baba Vanga. Everybody remember Baba Vanga? The blind.
How could you forget? How could you forget?
Her predictions have resurfaced because 3 of her most disturbing prophecies have not come true. Yeah. So she supposedly saw 9/11, Chernobyl, Princess Diana's death. The problem people are having with her is that there's no written record of her predictions. She just supposedly said them out loud, recorded them, and relatives interpreted and they have it. So most of them are coming from her niece, who supposedly documented her visions after her death, and people are accusing them of misinterpreting what she said. But so here we go. Well, this is what she did say about 9/11. Just going back, she said, 2 metal birds will crash into our American brothers. Wolves will howl from the bushes, and the blood of the innocent will flow in the rivers. So,
isn't that heartwarming?
Yeah. So she said, people have claimed, no, 85% of her predictions proved accurate, although that figure's never been independently verified. So she apparently, for this year, she warned about all the natural disasters. And yes, there have been quite a few earthquakes and whatnot. So, but I'm giving opinion. I don't know. Wouldn't that stuff, I don't know. Doesn't that stuff happen all the time? Anyway, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that the earthquakes and things like to say there's going to be a big earthquake in South America or in a, earthquake zone. You can just hit that on blind luck. Yeah.
But yeah. Her second one involved machines replacing humans in the workplace. But people are saying, would you stop? See what you've got me doing with that stupid freeze? Okay.
It's not very nice. It's not very nice.
It's huge.
It's not very nice.
Been developing for decades, and they don't know when she made the prediction. So here's the 3 unfulfilled that haven't happened. They said she's got a while. She's got till the end of the year. Humanity is going to make contact with extraterrestrial life because a massive spaceship's supposed to come down. Wasn't that supposed to happen at the FIFA World Cup? Just saying. Anyway, that's supposed to happen. That's supposed to happen now in November, supposedly. Let's see what else. Political concerning the outbreak of a 3rd World War. So they're saying that China is going to try to attempt to seize Taiwan because Russia and the U.S. are going to have direct military confrontation. Who knows? Maybe they're part of the 5 that's, who the heck knows? And the last one is Putin. She says he's going to lose power and be replaced by a new leader before the end of the year.
Well, that could be. I mean, we've heard this for years, but apparently he's not in the best of health and he's getting older. So could be.
Yeah.
Could be. Well, one of the most interesting people, I think, in the history of NASA and the space program, for those of us who are interested in the UFO question, is Dr. Edgar Mitchell, the late astronaut who was in Apollo 14. And now his former wife has said, and this is according to dailymail.com, that basically in February 1971, during the Apollo 14 mission, that Dr. Mitchell conducted 4 unauthorized ESP tests with people on the ground. And he said that he brought a deck of cards, with the different symbols, the star symbol and those different symbols. And he had readers on Earth and said that the 2 highest scoring participants identified 51 out of 200 correctly. So he would look at the cards, I assume, and kind of beam his thoughts across the cosmos, and these receivers would do it. And apparently, Anita Mitchell, who I believe was his former wife, I think they had split before his passing, but she told the Daily Mail that Edgar believed the odds against the result occurring randomly were 2 billion to 1. So he was obviously, the couple later divorced in 1984. He said he had a group of scientists that he worked with before he went to the moon, so they had set up the ESP experiment. And actually, he was going to do 6 experiments, but, you're kind of busy when you're up there on a moon mission. He later explained that he had spent years reading about ESP and wanted to discover whether supposed connection between 2 minds would weaken across the enormous distance between Apollo 14 and Earth. And apparently, he did believe that. Now, I will say this. I mean, I think that people who are skeptical about psychic matters and ESP, they think you have to be 100%. The old saying is, why don't you go to the racetrack then? Why don't you play the lotto? To me, it's like, Babe Ruth didn't hit the ball every time. Michael Jordan didn't make every basket. And those were the best in their field.
Correct.
I think it's the same with psychics. I mean, if it's significantly more than average, then that's, you look for statistical significance. Now, there's nothing in this article that says the 51 out of 200 is actually statistically significant and that has been verified. Thinking. But it would seem like more than chance because I think there are 25 cards. So I don't know what that works out. But the thing is that something can be less than perfect but still be statistically significant. And that's the point that I want to get across with this, because I think a lot of times people think, somebody's really psychic. They should get 10 out of 10. They should get 100 out of 100. And I don't think it works like that.
No.
But do they get more hits than they do misses statistic? And it'd be interesting to and I'm sure that somebody has done it, Dr. Dean Radin or somebody, look at some of these claims based on statistical significance. I think that would be interesting.
That would be interesting.
Yeah. So anyway,
I
somebody go out there and do that.
I wonder how he got away with doing it without NASA knowing, because it was unauthorized, right?
Right.
Or did they know?
Well, I just had well, it said unauthorized. That means they didn't know. But I mean, I'm sure.
Well, maybe they knew, but just didn't say we're not getting involved in that. You do that.
Yeah, I mean that it could be don't ask, don't tell kind of thing. It's
could
like
be. Or
I don't know what those deck of cards are for. Maybe they just thought he was looking at a deck of cards.
Better to ask for forgiveness and permission. Maybe it was kind of that.
Yeah, I mean, he was up in space. What were they going to do? I mean,
you're in trouble, mister.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't doing anything. I'm sure that he honorably did his duties while he was there, and in his little spare time, he just did his cards. So interesting stuff. Dr. Mitchell, that's somebody who I would have loved to have interviewed, but did not get the opportunity.
That would have been awesome. Yeah.
All right.
Well, we have a celebrity who has underwent an exorcism.
Oh,
now,
my goodness.
Full transparency, I didn't know who she was. I didn't know who she was.
Go ahead.
I didn't know who she was. I don't know. Do you know who she is? Kaya
No
Gerber.
idea. No idea.
Guess who her mother is? A famous model.
No idea.
Cindy
Crawford?
Yeah. Yeah. So apparently she's been in things. I guess I just don't watch anything. I don't watch what she's been in. She's an American Horror Story, actually. I just
cool.
don't watch that. So yeah, she says she went under. Kaya Gerber says she went under an exorcism when she was little because she was haunted as a child. She was talking to, I forgot which interview about American Horror Story. She said, my mom gave me holy water to go to the set with me because she was like, I don't want you to get possessed. She said, I was told I was possessed as a child. Asked to clarify, she said, I just was possessed. I was haunted my whole life. And then she was asked, did you have an exorcism? Did you undergo an exorcism? She said, I actually did. She didn't want to talk a lot about it. She's, so the reporter said, she said, do you know how they did the exorcism? This is a quote, they played a didgeridoo all over me. That's how they did the exorcism. For those that don't know, didgeridoo is an ancient wind instrument from Australia. Jim was doing a good impression of it. They asked her to clarify, and she, did it really happen? She said, that actually really did happen. I've never talked about it, but it actually did happen. Yeah. So, and she didn't seem to talk more about it. At least magazine article didn't indicate that she did. But yeah. So that's kind of spooky. Like, what the heck, right?
Yeah.
I'd like to know more. Let's get her on the show. No.
Good idea.
That's as likely to happen as I'm winning the lottery.
That's true. Well, and I'm speeding things up, folks. I've got a medical appointment. I have to be there at 1:45. So
I thought 2:15.
No. I just took
we're
a
in trouble.
little peek. Yes. So let's get moving here.
That's because I talk too much.
Nothing serious, just normal testing. Anyway, we'll get biblical for a second time today. Apparently, the Noah's Ark mystery has deepened. Again, this is from the Daily Mail. There's some new results. A new radar survey has detected strong subsurface anomalies and distinct layers inside a 515 foot long formation in Turkey. It is
Those pictures were wild.
It's the Darupinar Formation near Mount Ararat. And by the way, if you remember your Bible, it talks about the mountains of Ararat, where it lined. And it looks like the shape of what you would think is the Ark. Noah Ark Scans founder Andrew Jones says, we believe the Darupinar Formation is the remains of Noah's Ark, and that is exactly why we want to put it through the strongest scientific testing that we can. And they're going to be using some new radar. We will use Bakhtar Radar's unique capability to directly distinguish any still preserved petrified man-worked timbers from the natural host formation and its varying mineralogy. They even said that grass is a different color where this is. If you see, and we'll have the links in the show notes as we always do. And this is just 18 miles south of Mount Ararat, Turkey's highest peak. And it's only been known to the modern world for less than a century. They found it in 1948. So, I mean, again, I've never been able to understand how, if you take the story literally, how each and every animal could be on Noah's Ark, all the different species and stuff. I've never really been able to figure that out. But was there an ark with animals on it that saved people and saved different species and so forth? I actually kind of believe it. And they believe that actually there are people who believe that the dimensions of this formation match up with the biblical description, which is 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high, which is roughly 515 feet long, 86 feet wide, and 52 feet tall. So I applaud their efforts. I wish them all the success, and I hope that they're able to figure this out. Yeah, I'm not going to reject it. I remember when I was a kid, there was I think it was a company called Sun International. They used to always do these movies, and they'd be in theaters, and like The Mystery of Noah's Ark back in the 70s. So I've always been
feel-
fascinated by that.
I feel like my mom was fascinated by Noah's Ark. She made she loved to sew, and she made like this stuffed.
Yeah.
You remember that thing where you
Yeah.
could remove the animals from the ark? So she made that, and she also bought a little Noah's Ark like desk set that had a little stapler. Do you remember that thing? It was orange, and it had a little stapler, and it all was hidden, and it had like little animal erasers. Yeah, so I think she was fascinated with it.
Absolutely.
Can't ask her, but yeah.
So-
well, we got to end with something spooky.
No, and this certainly
Annabelle.
Dum, dum, dum.
Annabelle. Warren's Haunted Collection is leaving Connecticut and going to Salem, Mass, babies. Salem, Mass, everyone. Get over there. You used to be able to go in the Warren's Occult Museum. It was next to the home, and they had all the haunted items, including Annabelle. But numerous items for the collection has now left Connecticut, including Annabelle, and they're settling into their home at the Haunted Warren Museum at 259 Essex Street in Salem, Mass. Advertised as the world's most infamous haunted museum, the Haunted Warren Museum will begin welcoming the general public for self-guided tours beginning this week. The museum, which takes over the space of the former Haunt Blackcraft, will contain 13 exhibits with more than 1,000 artifacts on display. The Annabelle doll, as well as other items from the Warren's Occult Museum, like the Conjuring Mirror and the dinosaur toy from The Devil Made Me Do It case, are among the artifacts on display. They'll also have other supernatural and true crime relics that range from 17th century witch's door and Egyptian artifacts to items associated with Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy, and Charles Manson. Oh, come on. I feel like that glorifies these killers. It's like, just stop. And how sad. You're kind of desecrating the victims by, I don't know. Why do you need to see artifacts of that?
I mean, I've done podcasts on true crime, so I can't.
I know. But you interviewed authors
yeah.
finding out information about it and what, and you always treated it with respect, especially for the
That's
victims.
why it wasn't more successful.
Probably because it wasn't sensational. And
he plunged the knife 72 times into her stomach.
He ran into my knife. He ran into
59 times. No.
Tours, though, are really cool. They're 1 hour, and they're flashlight experiences that are self-guided, so you have to walk around, but they're also $49.99, and you could add on packages and of course all this stuff. And you know who has this stuff, right? Who actually is owning it?
I do know.
It's the Matt Rife and Casti people.
I kind
of
thought that might be.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are paranormal entrepreneurs.
Yeah. You do have to be at least 12, and under 18 you need adult whatever. So they Rife and Casti hosted a ribbon cutting ceremony last week, and there were thousands of people lining up in blocks, and yeah. So, but they only have it. It's on lease to them only for like 5 years, right? They don't own it yet.
So.
They don't own it.
I think so.
Yes, being leased to the duo in a 5-year agreement.
Yep.
So,
well, there you have it. So
if you want something spooky and you live in the Massachusetts area, or you're going to Salem, you might want to check that out. I would not be there, but that's okay.
2 quick things before we let everybody go. First of all, check out our virtual campfire group at virtualcampfiregroup.com. Absolutely free. We're having a great time. We're having a fantastic time with that. It's going really well. And I think we're close to 5,000 members over there now. We're inching up to 5,000 members. So it feels like.
Where are you guys? Because if we have 5,000 people, why are only the dedicated posting? Come on, people. Post some stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. But
comment,
it's a good place. A
respond.
lot of people. I mean, there is good activity over there, but we want more.
There is good. We want more, though.
So, and people share their stories. It's kind of like if you think about the campfire going on 24/7, because anytime you can go in there and you can read stories or you can contribute your own. So, and people will put pictures up. If they're on the show, sometimes they'll put pictures up of different things.
Yes.
So
only pictures, no videos, no links, please.
Yeah. We're very strict on that for security. We do everything we can to keep it safe. And we also do our best to screen people who are coming in. And if we find anybody causing a problem, out they go. So it's been a very kind of, for almost 5,000 people, extremely civil group. People are very supportive, very nice.
Yes.
Good people. And I hope that you'll join those good people at virtualcampfiregroup.com. One other thing, don't forget our merch store, jimharold.com/merch. Dar does a great job. She's going to tell you now how she hasn't done any new merch in a while and she needs to get on it. I know what she's going to say. I've got ESP just like Dr. Edgar Mitchell.
Yes, you do.
So,
you do.
But go ahead.
Well, that's just because
do your self-flagellation.
I have been trying so hard to get a Paranormal Report merch thing up based on our logo. And since our logo was created with AI, it's almost impossible. So we're going to... I've got another alternative.
A quick note on that. There was someone who said they quit listening to the shows literally because we used AI in the logos. Let me say a couple things. First of all, I respect artists. I have hired artists in the past. I will hire artists in the future.
Wait a minute. Clarify that, Jim, because Paranormal Podcast was not done with AI.
Correct.
And neither was Campfire. Just
That's right.
the Paranormal Report was done with AI.
Right.
Nothing else has been done
for
with
thumbnails.
You had artists for that.
Yes, but for thumbnails. So again, I've hired artists in the past. Some of them at great expense. I mean, we're talking thousands of dollars here. I will hire artists in the future. But when we put out these shows on video, we need like 3-4 thumbnails a week. There's no way I can afford to pay an artist for 3 pieces of unique art every week. So
and it
either
has to be this fast.
So either it's just crummy stuff that I can create, or we have it look a little nicer with AI. So if somebody's offended by that, you have a right to be offended. That's fine, but that's our thinking.
I have used Canva. I've tried to do them. They don't.
I'm not an artist.
I'm not either.
I respect, and I always say I respect artists because
if we
I cannot
had the
draw
means,
a stick man.
We would definitely do that because
I'd have a full-time artist. Yeah, I'd have a full-time artist. But Dar isn't
they would
even,
be very busy.
I can't even afford to pay Dar full-time, and she really works full-time. But
I don't work. Yeah, I don't work. I work full-time, get paid part. But that's okay. We trust, because you guys know we're not like huge. Jim may be a little more than I am. I'm not a huge AI fan. I don't particularly care for it, but sometimes in these situations, we have quick turnaround. We've got to get the shows out. Ask Jim when I was doing the TPR thumbnails. How long was it taking me to do them? Jim was getting so annoyed.
It was lengthy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I'm also a perfectionist. So anyway,
she is. And she does. Maybe not thumbnails as much, but she does pretty much everything she does very, very well. New
merch is coming, and I've got like a special thing coming for the holiday, the Super Bowl, which we call Halloween. So stay tuned. That is coming very, very soon. I'm going to be working on it. Just there's been so much personally that it's like the little time that I would have to do it. I haven't had it. So, but now
it has been a crazy
hopefully
time
things
indeed.
Slow down a bit.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. We will talk to you next time. And as always, we implore you stay safe and stay spooky. Bye-bye.